What's up, guys? Hope you're having a great day. I'm having a great day myself. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about Marvel-related toys and video games. But without further ado, let's get right on into it. Now, I will first be talking about Marvel video games and then onto the toys. Now, Marvel has had a lot of games, so I won't talk about every single one because this video will just be 1 hour and that's too long. So I'll brush up on some of the coolest ones and more important ones that I like because, I like a lot of them. Now, there were a lot of old Spider-Man games on the N64 and GameCube, but I'll start in 1998 when Capcom and Virgin Interactive released a revolutionary fighting game that still goes on today. Marvel vs. Capcom is a fighting game that, wow, you couldn't have guessed, is Marvel characters like X-Men, the Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy against Capcom characters like Mega Man, Ryu, and Ken from Street Fighter, and some Resident Evil characters. Now, this game was released on PlayStation, Sega Dreamcast, and in the arcades. Now, I've never played this game, but I've played every other game in the series, so I have a pretty good understanding of the game probably. Now, this is a 2D fighter where you and the opponent have two teammates that you can tag in anytime, except on cooldowns. The game was really popular and was a fundamental part of making fighting games a competitive game that would be played in fighting game tournaments today. Now, this game series has had 3 sequels, with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 coming out in 2000, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 coming out 11 years later in 2011, and Marvel Capcom Infinite coming out in 2017, with the last installment in the series being hated the most. Now, there are a few reasons why the game failed, but the main reasons were that the roster was small and had a minuscule characters like, listen to these, we have the Devil May Cry dude, the zombie looking thing, and a Resident Evil character. Like, what were they thinking? And not surprising to no one, the game flopped and sold an astonishing 1 million copies. Like, oh my gosh, give this company like $1 bajillion. Like, they're the best ever. Now, in 2020, Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix made this game called Marvel's Avengers. The game looked very good at first glance, but then ended up failing pretty early on and was doomed from the beginning, to be honest. Firstly, the game was released in a crowded September window and was competing against other high-profile releases such as Halo Infinite and Cyberpunk 2077, which, both those games are still doing okay. Secondly, the game was not well received by critics, at all, with many reviews pointing out its flaws. And thirdly, the game had technical issues which prevented many people from enjoying it. Finally, the game failed to capture the magic of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we all know and love today, and many fans were just left disappointed. I recently just played it and played the Black Panther DLC for about 20 minutes and got bored and didn't really like it, not one bit. This game was pushed heavily with DLC, but that didn't really help it too well, and they mostly just released DLC as a last effort to save the game, but it ended up hurting them in the long run. Most infamously, the game had a Spider-Man DLC, and this web swing mechanics looked bad, which led to videos comparing the mechanics with the Spider-Man games. Speaking of Spider-Man, in 2018, Insomniac Games and Sony Interactive made Spider-Man for the PlayStation consoles, PS4, and PS5, which are exclusives, so take that, Microsoft. What exclusive do you have? Oh yeah, nothing, that's what I thought. These games are beautiful, and you can tell the developers really cared about making this game. Where Sony is at their neck making sure they can make the money because Sony has already bought Insomniac Games. So what's next? Do you bankrupt the company? Gotta think about that one. But the first game's main antagonist is Mr. Negative, and you go around fighting tons of villains and enemies like the Sinister Six and a bunch of other enemies like Tombstone. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending is really sad, but at the same time, it's pretty happy. A few years later, when the PS5 was going to release, Sony had to make a new game that would entice people to get the PS5. And they just wanted to be a good company, and they just wanted that money. Am I right? But yeah, the second game focuses on Miles Morales and his conquest, which introduces Venom, electricity power, and stuff, which is an awesome concept, and I really enjoyed this game. I even 100%ed it. The first game has some DLC packs, which had some Sable DLC and some other DLC. I'd like to check them out, but just haven't gone around to it, but they're probably good, to be honest. Now, I could ramble on about the mobile game, but that is a whole nother video in itself, so maybe I should do a video about them. Leave your suggestions in the comments below. Alright, now onto toys. Now, if I'm a game company and need money, who do I profit off of? Oh yeah, the children. Yet, toys are really just made to profit off kids. Well, more like kids that beg their parents to buy toys that they never will end up playing. So Marvel toys have been going on for a long time, starting in 2009. But I'll try to cover some of the toy lines from my childhood. Now, the first toys I remember were these toys called superhero mashes. And basically, you buy these packs with 2 characters that you can mix and match, so you can have Captain America's head and shield on a Beta Ray Bill's body, which is an awesome concept. This toy line even had a mobile game, which I played and had a pretty fun time with. The second toy line I remember were these action figure toys that I had a pretty sweet collection, not to brag. Now, I couldn't find that many good pictures of the toys because I can't remember what they were called, but I believe they look something like this. Yeah, the big ones on top. These toys were pretty basic, but kept my 5-year-old brain happy, and hey, maybe one day they could be worth something. Now, since there are so many toys, I will just be covering the ones I thought looked cool and were unique. So let's start right now. So I had this Guardians of the Galaxy MP3 player a few years back, which looked like a Walkman, had a stock song, and you could even record and put your own song in it. Sadly, I lost it or probably sold it somewhere. But I had a fun time while I had it. Lego has put out countless Marvel Lego sets, so there's just a bunch of them. When Infinity War came out, there were like these cool replica gauntlets that were hundreds of dollars, but sadly we couldn't get those, so I had to get the budget one, but it still lights up and makes noises. Their Marvel Legends toy line has been going on, which includes characters and some little weapons and accessories customizable. These toys are cool, but are sadly small. Funko Pops are very popular, so of course there are tons of Marvel related ones. I think the coolest are these huge ones that just scream nerdiness. I can already tell just walking into someone's office and seeing their computer and then this monstrosity sitting next to them. Superhero Squad was a cartoon that I watched as a kid that was meant for little babies, that ran from September 14, 2009 to October 14, 2011. So a little over 2 years. This show packed in 52 episodes and 2 seasons, which the first focused on Doctor Doom and the next focused on Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. These toys had no accessories and were really small because the characters in the show were small, and these toys, while basic, were neat. I never had any of these toys, thank goodness, but I probably would have liked them. So the last toy line I want to talk about is these toys that you see all over GameStop and retro video game stores, where you think they're old, which they are, but sell for dirt cheap. Now, these old toys are pretty cool. They were action figures, and honestly, the box art looks pretty cool, to be honest, but I wasn't around to experience these toys, so I wouldn't know. If there are any 90s or 80s kids in the comments, tell me if these toys were cool. So, that's all we're going to cover today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, go check out my channel. I upload every Tuesday, or at least weekly. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Click the like button, hit the bell icon so you never miss one of my banger videos. Make sure to tell your friends and family about me. But that's all the time we have today. This is LazerFazer signing off. Bye, guys!